Hey everyone, today we are looking at Jingliu. So we're doing a showcase for her. If you've not been to one of my showcases before, what we do is we're going to look over her entire kit. We're going to go over a couple different builds for her. Then we're going to run her on a couple different teams so we could just see her limits, her valleys, and her peaks and how good she is. And of course, this is to help you recommend, hey, what vice could I build her and should I summon for her? Now she is really good. I've been using her a little bit before I've done the showcase here. I usually like to get them to a certain level before we do the showcases, which is, of course, max level, max light cone. Traces up to 5, relics, at least the main ones leveled up, and, dupes don't matter. Anyways, so Jingliu is of the destruction path, which means she deals a good amount of damage, and she has good survivability. You might think of her like an all-around character. She has good single target multi-target damage, but not as much as characters from the Hunt or Erudition. She has good survivability, but not as great as those of Preservation. Her combat type is Ice, which is actually very needed. In case you don't realize, this is the very first premium, they want you to spend money to summon for Ice character in the game. We, of course, have 2 general banner 5-star Ice characters, that being Yanqing and Jeopard. And Jeopard is really good, and Yanqing can be good. I'm not a big fan of him, but I can't deny that he is pretty decent. But she is really good, and she was exactly what the Ice typing needed really badly. Let's go over her kit. Start off with her technique. Her technique is Shine of Truth, which is an impair, and after using this technique, create a dimension around Jingliu that lasts for 20 seconds, and all enemies in this dimension will become frozen. After entering combat with enemies in the dimension, Jingliu immediately regenerates 15 energy and obtains 1 stack of Syzygy, with a 100% base chance of freezing enemy targets for 1 turn. While frozen, enemy targets cannot take action and receive ice additional damage equal to 80% of Jingliu's attack at the start of every turn. Only 1 dimension created by allies can exist at the same time. As far as I could tell, there are no other characters that create dimensions, so that's not something we have to worry about right now. There are some characters that obviously have effects that go over themselves or affect the terrain, which don't, I guess terrain not too much, but something like Fu Xuan's barrier thing doesn't interrupt this. Imbibitor Lune, Danheng, his leaping dragon state doesn't affect this. So not too much can affect it right now, but I'm not sure if that will, of course, happen later. The Syzygy will be going over in the talent, but this is really good. Pretty much gives you a guaranteed freeze, a little bit of energy. Technically like a guaranteed freeze, quote unquote, but yeah, you get it. Pretty good. Let's go to her talent, which is Crescent Transmigration, which is an enhance. When Jingliu has 2 stacks of Syzygy, she enters a spectral transmigration state with her action advanced by 100% and her crit rate increased by a scaling percentage. Then Jingliu's skill Transcendent Flash is enhanced to Moon on Glacial River, and only this enhanced skill is available for use in battle. When Jingliu uses an attack in the spectral transmigration state, she consumes HP from all other allies equal to 4% of the respective max HP. This cannot reduce allies' HP to lower than 1. Jingliu's attack increases by 540% of the total HP consumed from all allies in this attack, capped at a scaling percentage of her base attack, lasting until the current attack ends. Jingliu cannot enter the spectral transmigration state again until the current spectral transmigration state ends. Syzygy can stack up to 3 times. When Syzygy stacks become 0, Jingliu will exit the spectral transmigration state. So that was pretty long. But basically, this is the big part of her kit. So when she has 2 stacks of the Syzygy, however she gets it, she's going to get it off her skill, her ultimate, and her technique, just to let you know. The little spoilers ahead of what we're saying. But when she gets at least 2 of those, she enters the state immediately. It's one of those immediate actions. So she enters it, she will get a huge crit rate bonus. She will get her action advanced to 100%, which means that she'll just go right away after she has this. And then, of course, the only attack, you can't use a basic attack, you can only use her new enhanced skill, which is really good. I mean, you don't want to not use it. It will not use up a skill point, but it will also not generate any skill points. So this is a character that will not be generating very many skill points pretty much ever. This character almost never generates skill points, so be ready for that. Really big anti-synergy with someone like Imbibitor Luna, who is obviously very skill point hungry, just think about. When she uses her attacks as well, she will consume HP from all of the allies equal to 4% of their respective HP, which is a pretty negligible amount. I haven't seen it really affect where I've used it and then I'm like, oh, my characters are going to die now because they had a little bit of their HP taken. I haven't really had that happen yet. I haven't used her a whole lot, but I've been using her quite a lot, so At least so far, I haven't seen that ever be a problem. And of course, she takes it 540% of the total HP. Will of course boost up her attack, but it can only go up to a scaling percentage for base attack anyways. But really big extra damage on her, which means you do want to put her next to characters that do have high HP. I do have that for one of the teams, is one of them, which I would consider probably her best team, because this stuff does activate allies who take damage from things and get stuff. So first thought that I had was Blade. Blade, when he gets attacked or loses HP or whatever the exact words is, I'm pretty sure loses any amount of HP, it stacks up his follow-up attack. This ability here, when she attacks, it does stack up his follow-up attack. So that's a big thing to think about. All right, her basic attack is really simple. It just deals ice damage to a scaling percentage of Jingliu's attacks to a single enemy. Pretty simple. And then her skill is Transcendent Flash, which is a single target. It deals ice damage equal to a scaling percentage of Jingliu's attack to a single enemy and obtains 1 stack of Syzygy. So that's of course our regular one. You could only use that when she's like not in her transmigration state. So when she's got the blindfold on, you can only use this one. Just a relatively strong single attack. But of course, Moon on Glacial River is the Blast, which is a type of AoE, right? AoEs do normal amount of damage to everyone. Blasts do more damage to the center target and less to the side targets. So her Moon on Glacial River deals ice damage equal to a scaling percentage of Jingliu's attack to a single enemy, and deals ice damage equal to a smaller scaling percentage of Jingliu's attack to adjacent enemies. It consumes 1 stack of Syzygy. Using this ability does not consume skill points, but yet again, remember, you do not gain any skill points off of this. Her ultimate is Florafemoral Dream Flux, which is another blast. It's an energy cost of 140, which is quite high. It deals ice damage equal to a high scaling percent of a Jingliu's attack to a single enemy, and deals ice damage equal to a smaller scaling percentage of Jingliu's attack to any adjacent enemies. Gains 1 stack of Syzygy after attack ends, which means in the transmigration state, the only way to gain more stacks is to use her ultimate, and her ultimate is a really high cost, so you won't be able to just like spam that and be able to keep her in the transmigration state forever, but you will be able to be in the transmigration state for a long time. Now, when it comes to using her, you do not want to use her ultimate to get into the transmigration state. It might seem appealing, but you will notice that, number one, you will not be able to use the great huge crit rate or damage increase that her ultimate is able to use if you are not in the transmigration state. Number two, you will find that it will be quite useless, especially if you use it very wrong. There is one scenario where you could actually lose an attack with Jingliu if you do it wrong. If it is her turn, you have 1 stack of the Syzygy, and you have your ultimate up. If it is her turn, you use her ultimate, you will technically lose that turn, and your action will immediately be forwarded, and then you in the transmigration state, so you do technically lose a turn. You do want to be careful that I did that one time just to like test to see exactly how it worked, and you do lose that turn. You do lose an entire attack for her. But I would say that charge it up, obviously using the technique, but the rest of the time you should use a skill, and you should only be using her ultimate when she's already in the state. Because you already get an extra stack anyways, no matter what, and you get advantage of having the higher crit rate and damage by being inside of her transmigration state. So that is a tip for everyone here. If you read her kit, you would notice, hey, everything is pretty much attack, and then she has a huge crit rate bonus. You want to do her crit rate to a certain amount. You want to attack, focus a lot of attack, and another thing is, because she will be able to do basically guaranteed crits depending on how you get your crit rate, you want crit damage is a big one. So attack, crit damage, crit rate up to a certain degree, and then of course speed is always a secondary stat I recommend. That's kind of how I built her, so she has pretty high attack overall, and her crit rate is only at 40.2%, but I actually do not have all of her stuff leveled up, so that is not the max that it could be, but that's something to look for there. All right, but I do recommend, of course, getting it to like around 50%. I believe at her highest, her talent can get up to 55%, but I think you do have to have dupes to get up to that level. So like 50% crit rate is what you're looking for. So for light cone, obviously the best light cone for her is her own light cone, which is really, really good for her. I read the wrong details for it a while ago, and it was quite a thing. But her light cone is really, really good for her. It's the best light cone for her. However, unlike certain other characters, I would argue some characters have light cones so unique, and like their kits are so unique to the point where their light cone is like the only light cone you could use for them. 2 characters come to mind, that being Locha and Blade. The only light cone that gives max HP on destruction is Blade's light cone, which of course is the primary stat you want to do for him. For Locha, the only the only abundance light cone that gives attack, which is of course the main stat for him, is his own. Jingliu does not have anything that special. Her light cone is unique, but it's not like, oh, you have to get it, otherwise so much potential is lost, so much of the main stat she needs is lost. That's not true. I would say there is a perfectly fine 5-star free-to-play light cone on the Fall of an Aeon that is really, really good for her. Her light cone stacks up. This one does as well by an 8. Obviously, this could get higher. You could get the... I haven't grinded the extra stuff for this one out yet, but you get attack increased percent in battle that could stack up to 4 times. Weakness break it goes up as well. Damage increases. Sorry, weakness break on enemy, and then the damage increases by whatever. Really good. I'd say this one's really good. This is what you'd want if you don't have her own. But what you want to look for is stuff that increases attack, because that's a primary stat for her. If you have anything that does crit rate or crit damage, could also be useful. But that's pretty much it. You just want to look at those 3 stats and try to get something like that, which is pretty easy to do for Destruction Light Cone. She fits a lot of Destruction Light Cones. For traces, for the showcases, I try to get them all up to half. But the main thing we want to look at when we come to this menu is her bonus ability. So our first bonus ability is Death Realm, which is while in the spectral transmigration state, increases effect resistance by 35%. Not like that great, nothing super special. Like, it's nice, I guess, but for a bonus ability, take up a whole bonus ability, not that great. Same with the next one too, which is Sword Champion, which after using Transcendent Flash, the next action will advance forward by 10%. Like, not negligible, but like that's it sort of type thing. But this one is really good, which is Frost Wraith, which is well in the spectral transmigration state, increases ultimate damage by 20%. Yet another reason why you only want to use your ultimate while you're in the transmigration state. Do not use it outside of it. Trust me. So that's what we got for her traces. Like, I had said this in my breakdown video where I was like, these traces are kind of mid overall. Like, some characters have some really nice trace abilities. 2 of hers I feel like are kind of useless. It's a little bit of a shame. For her relics, this is what I recommend, which is 4 of the Hunter of the Glacial Forest. Some people do 2-piece Hunter with 2-piece of the Wild Wheat, whatever, the cowboy one that gives you 12% attack increase, which is nice, but I prefer that the ultimate crit damage increases by 25% for 2 turns. Not only because that does it for the ultimate, for someone who has guaranteed crits, but also lasts for 2 turns, which means all her other attacks also get advantage of the crit damage. And you really do want to put a lot of crit damage in her, because she'll have guaranteed crits pretty much when she's in the transmigration state, as long as you're building her right. And so I just think that's better than just like a 12% attack increase, which is not super great, because the base like stat for attack isn't going to be super high, because it's not like a stat like max HP, which you could raise up to like over 10,000. Like, attack doesn't get super high overall. It's just a naturally lower stat. So I would say that I just think that straight up damage increase plus crit damage increase is just better, in my opinion. That's what I'd recommend you build. But if you're really like, oh, try out the attack one as well, I guess, if you want to. But this is what I would say is the best. For her planar set, I recommend Rudolent Arena, which of course gives you a flat crit rate 8% increase. And when the wearer's crit rate reaches 70% or higher, the wearer's base attack and skill damage increase by 20%. And of course, you will get that in her transmigration state no matter what. Of course, you can't use the base attack, but skill damage increase by 20% is not negligible. That is really, really good. I wouldn't say there's really any other one you want to use on her. As far as like what I recommend you use for main stats, I recommend one of them be crit damage, and then the other 2 be attack percent. I recommend this one to not be attack percent, but instead I would recommend like an ice damage main stat. However, I just could not get one, and I don't want to have to use any resin for it, so I'll live with the attack percent one. It's not the worst, but if you could, I'd recommend an ice damage one for that. And then of course substats, you want to look for speed, crit rate, crit damage on these type ones. Right, crit rate I got on that one. Just stuff like that, speed, crit damage, crit rate. Normal stuff that I was saying before, right? For her dupes are really, really good. I would say she probably has the best like dupe set in the game, possibly, with the amount of stuff it does for her. I of course don't have any, but I'm not like a whale or anything. I'm just a guy who at least gets every unit. Alright, so first one is Moon Crash's Tianguan Gate. After using her ultimate or enhanced skill, Jingliu's crit damage increases by 24% for 1 turn. Yet again, this could compound with the force at the Glacial Forest, so yet again, really good. If only one enemy target is attacked, the target will additionally be dealt ice damage equal to 100% of Jingliu's attack. Very good. Like, this one is already insane, right? So you get the crit damage increase, and if only one enemy target is attacked, you get extra damage. So, like, you know, you don't have to worry about the point that it's a blast and you're missing damage on the sides. You just, you get, it, like, it's crazy. 2 is Crescent Shadow's Chi Xing Dipper. After using ultimate, increases the damage in the next enhanced skill by 80%. Yet again, crazy. Yet again, want to use your ultimates when you're actually in the transmigration state. Like, it's rewarding you so much by using it in the transmigration state. Do not use it outside of it. 3, Half Moon Gape's Mercurial Haze is a level up 1. 4, Lunar Lance Shines Skyward Dome. During the spectral transmigration state, the attack gained from consuming allies' HP is additionally increased by 90%. Remember, it was like 540 or 560, something like that. So go over 600% of the total HP consumed from the entire team. The cap for attack gain this way also increases by 30%, like insane. So excellent. 5, Night Shade's Astral Radiance is another level up 1. And 6, Eclipse Hollow's Corporeal Husk. When Jingliu enters the spectral transmigration state, the SysG stack limit increases by 1, and Jingliu obtains 1 stack of SysG while When Jingliu enters the spectral transmigration state, the stack limit increases by 1, and she automatically obtains 1 stack of it when she enters the state. Okay, while she enters the spectral transmigration state, her crit damage increases by 50%. So that's just, like, insane. Like, there's none of those are wasted, right? None of those, you don't look at any of those dupe level ups and you're not like, that one is only okay, I think that could be better. You don't look at any of them and you say that. They are all insane. She has such, like, a perfectly, like, designed kit where, you know, she doesn't do too much extra, so there's not, like, any wasted crap. The only wasted crap, I'd say, is in her bonus abilities and her traces, like effect resistance plus 25% or whatever it is. Like, who cares? That's so whatever. But they're all this stuff, all the dupes, everything, her kit, like, coincides so perfectly because it's relatively, I mean, there's a lot of words, but it's relatively simple. The idea is simple, and what she needs to do is simple. So, you know, all of that just adds up to something simple. There's none of these are like gives her like a follow-up attack that does whatever, you know, like these are all just very you know, they just fit so well. It's so crazy. So she is, like, I don't know, one of the best students in the game right now. If I had to, like, rate her, if you didn't see my tier list before, like, I have the main 3 Quantum characters, Fu Xuan, Silverwolf, and Zila, like 1, 2, 3, just because of how great Quantum is right now. Yet again, I don't rate everything off of strength, so it's not exactly like those are the 3 strongest characters, but the most useful ones to have, yes. But her, she's like, if I had to, like, rate her right now, she's like number 4 on my top 10 list, because you know, she's just, like, so strong, so easy, everything, like, just compounds so nicely. She's crazy. I've been using her. She's crazy. I think she's insane, and I think she also buffs some other characters. She doesn't do anything, you know, for, like, the mono quantum unit, obviously, because she's not a mono quantum unit, or you know, quantum unit, but she's just so crazy, and she buffs a lot of people around her. The only person who I would say suffers where they just, like, don't link up well, sync up well, is Imbibitor Looney Don Hung. I'd say that this is definitely not a dub for him. This is a this isn't a great character to use with him. All right, so for the teams we're gonna be showing off here, this first one is meant to just be like, how high can we get her numbers, supporters and debuffers, to see like how much damage she could do and how cool she can be. This one is what I would consider the real team. This is what I consider probably her best team. So she's surrounded by units with high max HP to do that extra damage increase to its the best it can be. She does with Blade. She like levels up Blade. Blade's also really good. We don't have to worry too much about like skill points because Lynx doesn't have to use her skill very much. Fu Xuan, you know, doesn't have to use her skill very much. So I think this is just you know, Blade only has to use the skill once, right? We don't get a lot of skill points, but also we don't have to use a lot of skill points. I think it's just like the best team for her. Very offensively built. Should do tons and tons of damage. And of course, the last one is what I like to consider the quote-unquote budget team, which is Jingliu, the only 5-star unit you've ever pulled. So I build a team only using 4-star units or free-to-play units, and this is what I have here to see how well she can carry a team, which makes it more like, is she worth summoning for, you know, right? Can she carry? All right, so I'll be jumping into this team with you guys in just 1 second. All right, so here we are with this one. I would say it was actually kind of hard finding a stage to show her off in, because if you ask me, I don't think that Ice was like yeah, I think Ice was pretty weak, like type-wise, because it didn't have like the best damage dealers. They don't have any type of premium unit for Ice. So I wouldn't say Ice was in the best spot right now. But I will say that I also didn't think that you know, I was like really dying to get an Ice character. Like I didn't think that we were like super in need of Ice. Like I can think of like very many challenging stages. A lot of challenging stages usually have like a type that is just something so, you know, I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, so we are going to buff her up, see how high we get her damage. So it's super easy to get her into her transmigration state, by the way. Like, all right, so we do that. See, instantly go into it, and then use your ultimate and get another one. Very, very, very easy. I might also want to say, I think her animations are some of the best ones. I don't know. Her animations are crazy. Like, I'm always just super amazed. She also deals a lot of damage, by the way. Let's see here. We'll do this. Get her ultimate. Get her ultimate, maybe? No damage. Okay. Let's see how much damage she does here. She's going to do a lot of damage. She's going to do so much damage. All right. So she's just super easy to use, super great. So this is a blast. So let's see how much damage this does. I wasn't really caring too much about the early ones. They're just showing off. So, on those two, I mean, yeah, there's like 53k damage. Like, froze them. You know, I'm missing like being able to freeze enemies. That's for sure. I'm gonna do this. We get another attack of this thing, and we're gonna ultimate it off. But let's just see how much the regular blast does. Doesn't kill. And that's 54 damage there. Killed, obviously. All right, let's go to the next fight. Let's just see how much damage we can do here. She gets a huge damage increase by doing this, so we'll do this again. So, the way you want to use her, right? You know, you saw that whole fight. We were pretty much in the transmigration state, literally the whole fight, right? Because it's like that. If you use her technique, it's so easy. So she gets the first turn, right? There's your single target, which actually builds up a thing. Instantly go into it, which also means you instantly get your action forwarded. Now use your ultimate. Let's see how much damage his ultimate does here too. No other buffs other than Bronya buffs. Let's see here. 22,000 damage. Very nice. And then you get another blast. So she did do just like 3 attacks, which is 26,000 damage. You know, like I don't know if you guys know, but that is a lot of damage to get off right there. You remember, she had an attack before. She had another attack before that. She did just go like 3 times. One thing is that I also wanted to bring her into this stage too, which is another reason why it's so hard, is that she obviously pretty much only does skill attacks. So against like an enemy like this, which is not uncommon, you know, you will be like pretty much the only one targeted. So let's see here. Now she's got the Tingyun buffs, Bronya buffs, all that, right? Let's see how much damage she does now. Just the Tingyun increase. Yeah, a huge increase. Because she does so many like attacks in the thing. She, you know, all crits. I mean, all those attacks crits. It's insane. Do so much. This is definitely a huge Tingyun buff, right? For support characters, you know, obviously they do what they do. However, you know, what they do doesn't matter as much as just like, okay, my characters are dying. I mean, I figured they're like low level, whatever. They're all squishy. This isn't a real team, but you know, it's something that you should consider. When you look at these guys, let's see how much she does damage to this. It is like support characters. They're as good as the characters they can support. I would say Tingyun was not, you know, at the highest she could be when like Blade was out, because Blade doesn't need Tingyun support ever, because Blade just like does not care about attack nearly as much as he cares about max HP stat. But you know, then we got Imbibitor Lune, we got Jingliu, who are actually like attack-based attackers, which is so weird to say. You know, it is big buffs for her, which is good because, you know, she is a really good character. So here, in this case, she's going to be able to attack 2 times again here now. So she's able to attack so much, and then the transmigration state doesn't technically go away until it's like the next person's turn. So until the Trotter actually uses their action, it's not the next turn. And of course, like the ultimate can be used in between actions. So you can do this here. All right, so we're going to do the attack. Make sure, you know, you're ready to use the ultimate. Okay, he died. Well, obviously that one doesn't count. So this is, you know, in the same thing. So she's still in the transmigration state despite having none of the, you know, none of the points in it. And then of course she's gonna be able to get another one right here. As you can see, yep. Oh, she gets another point in there. Of course she killed 47k on one enemy like that. And the ultimate is just crazy. We're gonna just jump right back into that stage. Oh yeah, I haven't finished my Memory Chaos. Sorry guys, spoilers. I haven't finished it. I have 1 day left. All right, we're gonna come in here one more time. I want to look at obviously, by the way, remember Pella, Tingyan, they're actually on level 70. Actually, I don't even think I have any relics on them because I was doing a huge relic switch around. So no relics, whatever, you know. Oh, actually, Tingyan has relics. I put attack relics on her before so that I could actually use her buff. But you know, I just want to say, like, she is being able to just kill these guys despite being the only damage dealer, right? Obviously, she's like wanked, right? This is like insane support, but still, like, she's the only one dealing damage, and she's able to just eviscerate these guys. So you know, she is a carry. She does just carry hard. All right, then do this. Gonna do this here. So let's see how much damage this does. I was actually looking at her not in the transmigration state. So I mean, that does like 8,680 damage. Not very much. Wasn't a crit. Now she's like in that guaranteed crit zone, right? 2,000 was that? Yeah. No, that was 20,000. 20,000 damage. Mid. So mid. All right. You're frozen. Let's try to get another thing around here. All right, so she has her ultimate. Some of those guys are dying. I'm gonna wait 1 second. Okay, so we're gonna get back to Bronya. All right, let's see like max input, right? So I'm gonna pull her up. Boom. So now she has her ultimate. Now we're gonna use this, and we're using Pella. So Pella can use hers, which is obviously the big debuff. So she has Tingyan support. We got the Pella debuffs. We're gonna have Bronya support, ultimate support. First things first is just look at her ultimate damage. Let's look at the ultimate damage first. Only one other unit. I wish those guys didn't like pop up so we just see like the pure single target damage, but that doesn't matter. It sounds like I have the dupe that allows her to do more anyways. So, you know, 94,000 damage, right? Can this guy go away? Yeah, so his health bar is like almost gone. And then you can remember she has another attack, and that just also increases her transmigration state. So let's get to do that. Still the same buffs. Still the same buffs. Yeah, 65,000. You know, it's like the team we're running is like garbage, right? It's literally 1 attack and then 3 support units, but we're still able to just pound these out. I remind you, one of the support units has no relics on them and is level 70. You know, her damage is crazy. This wasn't even meant to be like, can she just carry all by herself? But this is like she can carry by herself. This is the damage she deals is insane. I'd like to remind you that I still don't have like 2 of the relics completely leveled up, because I mean, they're like the relics you want to level up blast. They're, you know, the head and arm piece like relics. Those are the ones that are like, you know, those are the relics that are worst on like the relic set. But you know, you get what I'm saying. The point is, the point is she's crazy, right? Like that's oh, her damage is so crazy. All right, that's all I want to show for this section. We're gonna be looking at like a real team and then the budget team. I'm gonna be doing them now, and I'll talk over them in post, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Yeah. Crazy. She's good. She's good. All right, so here is the first fight, or the second fight, I guess, but with the balanced team is what I call it. This is probably like her best team in general in the game. Obviously, you want to change your teams based upon what enemy you're fighting. This is be considered like quote unquote the best team. Now, I am in what I would consider probably the hardest fight in the entire game. Obviously, ignoring any like Simulated Universe Swarm stuff, I guess, but like just straight up fight you could jump into without any external buffs. I would say this is the hardest fight in the game. It is quite an unfair thing because, yet again, I did not cater this team for this fight. This is the same team I showed before. The team would look different. I was catering it for this fight, but I really wanted to test Jingliu's, you know, how strong she is. And this is, you know, she's strong, but this isn't like, this is a relatively not the best affair, I'll be honest. It is an unfair fight. She's an uphill battle in this fight. Because this is, like I said, the hardest fight. This is the last stage of the Xianzhou Hall of Memories fight, which I haven't even attempted in a really long time. I have everything else 3-starred. I tried this like once or twice, and I was like, I don't think I can even beat this fight until I get like just more characters, like just a better box. Which with Jingliu now, I think that, you know, if I actually cater a team towards the 2 fights, I'd actually be able to 3-star it. Now we'll have to see if that's possible. But like I said, this team is not catered for this fight at all. This is meant to just, you know, I was testing Jingliu, and honestly, she does really well. She does a lot of damage for how, you know, how bad a situation she is put into. So the reason I chose this team before, I kind of mentioned it, is obviously Fu Xuan is one of the best like preservation characters in the game. Lynx is a great healer, but the big thing, that reason I put her on the team and then like a different healer is, one, she's a max HP character, so she has high max HP. Number two, she actually raises the other characters' max HP, which is really great for both Fu Xuan and Blade. And of course I chose Blade because he's a high max HP character and he's insane with his damage. So I chose all those characters because they're really good, and also because Jingliu, of course, does do the 4% max HP off of your allies, and her attack increases based on how much she takes from her allies. So you want to choose allies with high max HP because it's just better for you. It allows her to deal more damage. And of course she just has really, really good synergy with Blade, because when she deals damage, she takes 4% of her allies' HP, and that does count towards Blade's follow-up attack. As you might see in this fight, Blade uses his follow-up attack all of the time, and it makes me wish I had enough dupes in him to the point where he could only needed 4 to do his follow-up attacks instead of 5, because he'd be launching them off even more. But this fight, we do try our hardest, but I'm gonna be honest, we actually win this fight, but it's a very hard battle. But no one is really like a quote-unquote weak link. It's just a hard fight, right? Blade deals just insane amount of damage, has crazy sustain even though he's hurting himself. The healing he does off of his follow-up attack, which, like I said before, he gets like all of the time. He's just consistently launching that out. And also his does healing. But this is a little bit of the beginning and the end here, it looks like, because Jingliu and Fu Xuan both die right there. And of course, at first I was going to quit because, hey, I lost my showcase character, but I decided to see, like, hey, can the rest of the team finish it off? I'm not gonna say she didn't do a good job. She did a ton of damage before she finally got knocked down. You gotta remember, she's a destruction character, but like a pure one, where she doesn't have any defensive traits. All she has is attack traits. So her dying isn't gonna in hard fights isn't gonna be like you're never gonna see that. She doesn't have high max HP. She has no defensive abilities. That is something that we haven't really seen too much in other destruction characters. Oftentimes they have much higher defensive abilities. Think about Blade. It doesn't seem like he does at first, but he does have, that high max HP. Now this is the budget team one here. Now this is a sad affair. I had to do a whole other fight before I got into this one. Otherwise I probably would have restarted right away, because we just get unlucky, right? So this is, the budget team, right? So this is like, hey, is Jingliu the only 5-star you have? Let's build a team with her and only 4 stars and like free-to-play characters. That's like the Trailblazers here, despite being a 5-star. And it's just like so unfortunate. It's really just like, oh, the taunt didn't work, because look at what's about to happen right here. Boom, boom, dead. Like, there's nothing I could do. I tried to use her ultimate right away, because if I used her ultimate, then I could have used it on Lynx, and then use Lynx ultimate to hopefully be able to heal her up, but I don't even know if that would have been enough. But I was like, dang it, maybe I should restart. I didn't, because I didn't, because I had to go through a whole other fight before this. But that was sad. It was really just unlucky. I was just unlucky, because the rest of these fights go smoothly, but it is a lot slower, significantly slower, obviously because I have one less teammate, and because that teammate was going to increase Jingliu's damage by quite a bit. And so this one, like I said, is a little bit sadder, right? A little bit sadder for Jingliu. She's missing any buffs at all. She has no buffs. She's not allied with anyone who has incredibly high max HP other than Lynx, I guess, right? Because my Fire Trailblazer doesn't have very high like max HP. And then we also have one less character that she could steal max HP from to be able to boost her. So it's just truly unlucky. But, we get through the fights. We do both of them still. But what a sad affair. However, this is interesting to see. This might be a little bit more, we do the budget team for a reason. We do the quote-unquote free-to-play team for a reason. It's to see, can she carry by herself, right? Is she a carry character? And I do think at the end of the day she is. Obviously, at the end of this, I think the end fight we'd only get technically 1 star. And I'd like to tell you that the team I had before this was like a max team, right? Like, we cleared both of the stages in like 1 rotation each, right? Like, we didn't use up any like extra turns that we really needed to. So we get down to, I think, the 10th, like 10 rotations left or 10 rounds left, right? Which only leaves us one star, because a character died. We didn't get above like 16 or 18, whatever the one for this one is. It takes a long time. She can't do all the damage herself, which is disappointing, because I'll be honest, when I was using Blade beforehand, you know, I did this before with Blade. I've used Blade a lot, right? Blade, it could carry, because the thing is, he can take a lot of damage because it just has a really high max HP. He can deal a lot of damage. You know, all of his attacks pretty much, you know, he only uses a skill point once, and then all of his attacks are AoEs. His ultimate does a lot of damage, and he also has that follow-up attack. He just has a lot of, you know, a lot of damage, a lot of AoE damage, a lot of, you know, he can tank, right? So he can carry the teams. Her, on the other hand, I'm not so sure that she's, you know, that next level carry potential like Blade is, where I might have to put her down. But it's just in that remark. You know, obviously she can't like carry the full team, but you know, and then if you have more characters, then she isn't supposed to just carry the whole team. Remind you, this is only 3 characters, right? Because Tingyan, we just got unlucky. Tingyan died right away. You know, it was really just like the Fire Trailblazers taunt. It didn't work right away. That's pretty much what happened. Because you gotta remember that part of it, so that might be part of the reason why she can't just quote unquote carry as easily as like someone like Blade can. But like her heights, I feel like are kind of easier to get than Blade. Blade is very simple. He just does what he does, and he's like pretty much at his best right from the beginning to the end of the fight. He has no like varying. Obviously, she needs to be in a transmigration state, but isn't very hard to do. But she, you know, has peaks and valleys more than like someone like Blade. But her peaks are higher. Her valleys are lower, but her peaks are higher, and it's not very hard. You know, it's still not hard to do that, right? It's still not hard to get her to her peak damage. You know, obviously the balance team we just did before, you know, it didn't go so well because we were doing like the hardest fight, and we weren't like, you know, didn't have a team for it. But you know, she still did very well. She still did insane damage, right? We go into like any different fight, any other fight in the game with that same team, and you know, we don't lose anyone, and we clear it super easily. She is crazy. Her peaks are incredibly high. Her valleys are just, you know, slightly lower. Like, I'm just comparing to Blade a lot because, you know, it's a damage dealing destruction character, right? It'd be weird if I was comparing her to Bronya, right? So that's why we're just going through so many of the Blade things. But we want to look at like someone like Imbibitor Lune, who's another, you know, damage dealing destruction character. I would say, yeah, she's better than she's better than Imbibitor Lune. I'd say by a lot. She's a lot easier to use. Her peaks are a lot higher, a lot easier to gain. His valleys are so low. You know, when Imbibitor Lune is weak, he is weak, and the only way to get him, you know, really high is to put so much stuff into him and have teams just catered towards him. Whereas Jingliu, I would say, you know, she still does what she does, and she does it pretty well, even when she's on these subpar teams. Like Imbibitor Lune on the same team like this, like, yeah, this is so much worse. We lose the fight. You know, we lose the fight. You know, Jingliu, we still technically win. We still technically beat the fight if we didn't 3-star it. So, I don't know. She's better than Imbibitor Lune. I'd say overall, I'd say, you know, maxed out better than Blade. Overall around the same level as Blade, but she's still crazy. She's super good. You know, we're past this monoquantum stuff, like the monoquantum characters coming out. I still say, like, save your stuff from, you know, monoquantum characters, you know, when they get re-released. We do have our first character being released, that being Zila, you know, next coming out with Topaz, I believe her name is. And so, you know, that's obviously something you want to keep in the back of your mind, is that monoquantum team is really good just because, you know, it's just so easy to use and usable. But someone like Jingliu, I do recommend pulling for her because her damage is crazy, and she's one of the only ice premium characters that we have in the game, and it doesn't look like we're getting any more anytime soon, so I would recommend, you know, keeping on her. I'd say it's good. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a blast. Jingliu, like I said, peaks, valleys, but she's really good. With that, I will see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.